Well, howdy folks, welcome back to the workshop, welcome back to my channel, and we're going to build another very useful guitar pedal circuit today. So you might have seen that recent video where I built a little battery starve pedal. If you didn't see it, I will put that up over here along with the link so you can check it out. Well, in any case, I've got another one today, and I actually think it's more useful than that, and it's about the same amount of money. I think I spent about $11 on that. This one I probably spent even less on, and it is a bypass looper. Now, when you hear looper, you probably think a loop pedal. That's not what that is. A looper came before a loop pedal. A looper is just a way to switch inputs in and out. So it's like loops. It'll make more sense when you see the pedal. But what do you need to do this project? First things first, you need 4 1/4-inch mono jacks, just like this. They can be any brand, any style, just standard 1/4-inch mono. You need a 3 PDT switch. It could be a foot switch type like this, or it could be a toggle switch, doesn't really matter. You need an AC jack adapter like this. This one is the style that mounts to the inside of the enclosure. You can use the style that mounts to the outside of the enclosure. It doesn't matter as long as it's an AC jack. You need an LED and a current limiting resistor. Now for today's, I'm gonna use one of these water clear green LEDs and a 10K resistor. I've got a separate video about current limiting resistors. I'll put that up over here if you haven't seen it, but doesn't matter as long as you've got an LED and a current limiting resistor, it will work. Finally, you're gonna need some sort of an enclosure to put it all in. Now this is a 1590B, and you can see I've pre-drilled this one. I've also put graphics on it. Now this is the first time I've tried this method. I used water transfer paper, printed it on my computer printer, and then transferred it onto the pedal here. Now you might notice there's some imperfections in this pedal. I'm not even sure if the camera's gonna see that, but there's like a little scrape over here and right here, and then one kind of in the middle here. I bought it like that as a second, and I got it for $3 because of that. And it was already painted white, but it had a couple dings on it. So if you go to those companies that sell these pre-painted enclosures, a lot of times they'll have scratch and dent ones. They'll sell them for super cheap. Now, if you're interested in how I did those graphics, let me know that in the comments, and I can do a separate video on that. But here is the circuit we're gonna do today. It's very, very simple. In fact, I'll put it on the screen for you. If you look at that, the black line follows the ground path. So what you can see is everything is grounded, plus the enclosure itself is grounded. So everything would be grounded through the enclosure. The green line follows the audio path, and the blue line follows the power path. So you can see the only thing the power is used for is to turn the LED on and off. And if you look at that audio path, it's just basically in one position, the rightmost jack is connected to the leftmost jack, and in the other position, the middle 2 jacks are involved. Now, this makes it very simple and very useful. Let's put it together, and then I'll show you some of the uses for this particular pedal. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna take some of this wire and I'm gonna solder a lead to each of the positives of the 4 jacks. Now that will become apparent why I'm doing that later in the video. Also notice that today I'm using solid core wire. I normally use wound core wire like this, but I'm doing that so I can keep the wires all nice and straight. Okay, now the next thing I'm gonna do is mount everything in the enclosure just to see how everything lines up. So let's do that now. Okay, now I have everything just finger tight here, just to kind of prototype it. But what you can see is these are going, oops, even though it's finger tight, it's still moving. These 4 are going to come over to the switch here, okay? And then this will come, will come over right here, and then we'll have to have another wire going over to our LED. So the next thing that we really need is the ground wire that's going to go around and touch all of these. So let's go ahead and do that ground wire. Okay, so we're almost done. You can see here, we've got the power coming in, we've got the common ground going to everything, and then we've got our 4 jacks wired along with this little jumper wire. What that will do is when the switch is in the top position, it'll allow input to pass to the send, and then from the return back to the output. When it's in the bottom position, it will send the input and the output, it'll hook them directly together. Now, the one last wire that we have to do is from the power here, we want to make a positive wire over here to the LED. Okay, there we go. It looks like all of our connections are made. Let's just test it out real quick. Got a pedal power supply here, and we can see as we click the switch, the light comes on, so that's a good sign. Now let's see if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. I'll grab my multimeter here, and we'll put it on continuity setting. So right now, these two should have continuity. They do. And if we engage the circuit, these two should have continuity. They do. These two should not. They don't. And these two should have continuity. And they do. So it looks like we did it correctly. When we go back to bypass, we should have no continuity here. Looks good. No continuity here. Good. And no continuity here. Awesome. But we should have continuity here. Okay, folks, I think we're ready to take this baby inside and test it out. But I just want to say that I'm super pleased with how this came out. Everything looks really good. It looks very professional and whatnot with the graphics. They came out way better than I thought they were going to. Now I kind of wish I would have got a perfect enclosure instead of one of these scratch and dent ones, because, you know, now it's got scratches and things all over. But it doesn't matter. It's going to work, and it's going to get beat up eventually anyway. Let's go test it out. Okay, so here's the most common way you'll see this kind of a utility used. So I've got the send going to my grunge pedal here. I've got this coming back to the return. This is going to my amp, and then this, of course, is going to my guitar. So you can see the pedals on, but if I play this, it's clean. Just getting a clean amp tone. So as soon as I click this, now it's engaged. Back to clean. So this is very useful if you have a pedal that's not true bypass and you want it to be true bypass, or if you have a pedal. A lot of people I've heard say they have vintage pedals where the switch kind of makes a pop every time the pedal comes on. Well, here's a good way to avoid that, because you can hear, you don't hear any pop. This is nice and quiet. Okay, so here's another common way to use this type of a utility. So you can see here, I've got my grunge pedal, I've got a phaser here. This is a 90 orange, which is a phase 90 clone. And then I've got it within the sort of loop here, right? So right now in this position, we don't hear either one, despite the fact that they're both on. But as soon as I hit this, it's gonna turn both of them on at the same time. Back to clean. So as you can see, you wouldn't have to struggle to move your foot to 2 different pedals to try to turn them on. Let's say you had a solo or something that needed both of these. There you go. And you could, I'm just using 2 here, but you could have 3, 4, 5 within that loop section, and you could turn them all on with a single click. Okay, so what if I've got a situation where I want an effect to be on both my clean and my dirty channel, then a different effect to be just on my dirty channel? Well, that works great. So here, I've got the dirty side with the phaser, and I've got the clean side and the dirty side with the reverb. So what that means is in my clean setting, we've got the reverb. But then when I go to dirty, we're gonna get these two plus the reverb. Okay, so in addition to using this for effect switching, you can also use it as an AB box. Now, you've probably seen 100 videos out there of guitarists telling you why you need an AB box. Well, there's an AB box hidden inside every one of these. Let me show you. input, output, input, output. So if we just don't use this one, we have input, output, output. That's an AB box. So to show you here, let me bring the volume up. So if I play something that's coming through the big amp that's all mic'd up and everything, sounding nice, then if I hit this, it'll go to this little amp. So just to show you. So there you go here, back to the big amp. So you can use this as an AB box. But there's another clever way to use an AB box that people don't always talk about. So let's say you don't have a tuner pedal, but you have one of these. You can just plug it in and use this as your tuner pedal. So right now, when it's off, you can see that's not responding and the sound is still coming out of the amp. So as soon as I hit this, no sound comes out of the amp and I can tune. Oh, my E was a little out there, look at that. But I can tune it now. Back to the amp. Okay, so here's another situation to show that it doesn't just work with guitars, it's useful with all kinds of instruments. So I've got my Atari Punk console here that I made. This was a while ago. It actually runs on pedal power, so that's convenient. And then I've got that plugged in here. So when I turn this on, we'll hear the Atari Punk console, and it makes all kinds of crazy noises, right? We've got that all coming through the reverb. So now let's say I have a drone going on here and all of a sudden I want to switch to my keyboard over here. You notice right now, you don't hear anything, but as soon as I hit this, and I can switch this back. The other way. Okay, so there you have it, folks. That's just a few of the things you can do with a little utility like this. 100 uses in this little thing, so useful to have around and so easy to build. Now, if you were to buy all the parts to go build this, I don't know, it'd probably cost you $10 if you got a good deal on the enclosure. Of course, you don't have to use a metal enclosure like this. You can use whatever you want. But even if you had to go buy like a nice new metal enclosure, it's probably still going to cost you less than $15. But here's the thing, if you do this kind of stuff like I do, if you're a modder and an experimenter, you've already got all these things sitting around. You've already got some 1/4-inch jacks, you've already got an AC jack, and you've already got a 3-pole dual throw switch, and of course an LED. That's all you need. You could put them in anything. You could put them in a cardboard box if you wanted. There you go. So super easy to build, super fun, lots of uses, and I'm sure you're probably already coming up with some of your own. If you like what I do on this channel, I would really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button for me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That like button really does help out the channel. Thanks for tuning in.